Okay, take number 5. This has been a really rough go for me. Not that the topic is bad, but brain's not working. Everything's gone wrong. First take was perfect, except for the fact that I forgot to plug in my microphone. Take number 2, just my brain went into a fog and I couldn't come out of it. I was stuttering and stammering, and it was really, really bad. Take number 3, went down a rabbit trail. I got so far down that rabbit trail that it was essentially another video and not what I wanted. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail again. Today we're going to talk about unkillable / block damage champions for clan boss. Top 5. Gonna be a short video. I already did my polls because I've done the videos early. I got absolutely nothing. Seriously, nothing. That poll. I've been so lucky with you guys. Nothing. Yesterday I was sick. I was not feeling well, and so I did not do a video yesterday. I apologize about that. But yes, top 5 guys. I have not done anything with there are there are 2 guys that could make this list that I just don't have. And one of which is Sir Nicholas, and he would actually not even make my top 5. Right there's the other guy. They're both here. Good. This guy would not make my top 5. Unkillable with continuous heal is a bad deal, and I'll get into why on that when we hit Maneater, because he's going to make the list. He would not. Sir Nicholas is worse than Maneater, in my opinion. Here's the other one, Rashard the Tower. Rashad the Tower has block damage for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. Perfect. Block active skills, block debuffs. Against clan boss, what is this going to do? Nothing, yeah. So it's kind of a nothing move. And so it has a chance of removing a buff. If he was available to me, he'd be number 5. But instead, my number 5 is essentially my number 5 is Warcaster. He's Rashard the Tower Light. The difference, 1-turn block damage on a 4-turn cooldown. He still does the block. He just doesn't do the block active skills. And he removing buffs just like Rashard the Tower. This is Rashard the Tower, except 1-turn cooldown. He works great. As I said, if Rashard was available to me, he'd be number 5, but this guy's number 5. I use him all the time. All my 2-to-1 teams have Warcaster and Helikath. And I use my 2-to-1 a lot. So number 5, Warcaster. I really, really like Warcaster. As a matter of fact, I use him in Hydra, because this is probably the most valuable thing in the world, and probably the most valuable thing in the Hydra world. Number 4. Why did I close that out? Number 4. I mentioned him before, and he's going to be here right now. Maneater. Maneater is freaking awesome. I want to go to it. I got a couple Maneaters that can use some equipment, which is awesome. I can get more equipment. Anyways, his skills: 5-turn cooldown on block debuffs and unkillable. So that means he's the original unkillable, and there's a reason why you need Painkeeper with him. Oh, excuse me. Because to work on a 3-4 team, you need to bring this down to 4. Hence, you need Painkeeper to reduce the count on this. It works great. He actually works extremely well with Emic. Remember how earlier I said Sir Nicholas would not make my list? This is why. If I were running a team that was looking at doing unkillable, I'm running Geo. Why Geo? Geo reflects 15% of the damage that the clan boss gives out, and we can increase that damage by 5% when we're 50% or less. If we're constantly healing ourselves, ain't gonna happen. Opposite is true for block damage. I'm gonna have Heart of Glory on all my block damage teams. Why? 5% more. I'm running 140 million right now on my teams. If I do 140 million damage, you can bet 14% of that, or 14 million of that, is from Heart of Glory. Catch where it's all coming from? So, back to the skills. Unkillable block debuffs. Block debuffs is huge because you need the block debuffs in order to keep the stun from hitting your guys. I have seen double man-eater teams. I've actually run them, where you have one Painkeeper, double man-eater, and then at that point you can run 2 DPSs. And you can run it at a 2-to-1 ratio and be good. This year, depletes the turn meter, does not affect clan boss at all, but is actually really good for Spider and good for Fire Knight. And his last move, decrease attack, I put his accuracy as close to 0 as possible because, once again, if I'm running an unkillable team, I don't want to reduce his attack, I want to increase his attack. Because Geo is going to do more damage. So, number 4 is Man-Eater. Number 3, I've talked about this guy quite a bit already. And that is Emic. Emic may be the most underappreciated clan boss guy in the game. All the best comps are going to use my number 1 and number 2. All the best ones do it. I believe he can be in that group. I believe that he can be as good as those guys, if not better. What do we have? What's our negative? The stupid taunt. So, he does a taunt for 2 turns. He does a shield. Once again, on Unkillable, we don't want to reduce damage. But on Hydra, we do. So this is a guy that we can use for both Hydra and Clan Boss. There are many different teams that use Emic Trunkheart. The number 1 team that uses Emic Trunkheart is called Heart Eater. You mix Emic Trunkheart with Man-Eater. It brings that 5-turn cooldown to 4-turn. And you run a 4-to-3 Man-Eater and Emic. And Man-Eater then puts out his block. He puts out his block debuffs and his unkillable on the turn 3, where where the clan boss does a stun. You cleanse the stun, and you actually do it on turn 2, and it carries over to turn 3. And then he does his on turn 1. And because he has that wonderful decreased skill decreased cooldown of ally skills, you stay in tune. I also use it in a 2-to-1 team where I use Emic. And I use Maneater, and I use I have my son-in-law. He's using a Brogni and blocking the debuffs on his turn, and then that leaves him one open slot because you need one for the turn meter manipulation of Seeker. But that said, Emic Trunkheart, another shield. He's really good. Really good. I wish I could get this to work. What I like doing, I've done it recently, is you make Emic your lead, and you use white Nead, white Dryad Nia. She reduces the turn count by 2, so he can actually go off every turn. He never attacks. He just goes back and forth. Boom, 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 boom. Between cooldown and then unkillable. And then when he goes again here, it brings Nia's skill down so she can hit him again. And they just go back and forth. What does this do for you? This sets it up so that way you can do it. But the problem with Nia is she picks the person who has the least amount of HP to do that skill cooldown to. And so what you need to run is you need to run another person. So I've run Brawlney, and the reason I run Brawlney is Brawlney has in his second form, he has right here, balances the HP of all allies on a 3-turn down to 2-turn with Emic. So every turn, Brawlney is balancing the HP. Now, not everybody has Brawlney, but everybody does have, I can't remember his name, that's why I'm scrolling down. And I believe I have him at 50, so I don't have to search too far. Everybody has access to, I don't have him at 50. Not these guys. It's an epic, not an epic, a rare. I used him. Dang. I fed him because I have Brawlney. There is an I'm on a rabbit trail. I'm not going to let this one derail me, though. I'm pretty sure he's in the dwarves. If I see him, I'll point him out. If not, we'll continue on. And I went through all the guys here. I don't see him. It isn't in here. Anyways, I'm not going to let it derail me. My point is, if you have the HP balancer, he will balance the HP, so that way Emic always gets the turn meter, and so then you can set up a all automatic team. You don't have to click through it all the time. That brings me to my number 2. Mentioned him before. I'll mention him 1,000 times because I really think it was really hard for me to go between him and my number one, and everybody knows what number one is going to be now. Helikath on my 2-1 team with I have 2 DPSs on my 2-1 team, and I have both Acrizia and Newt. And Helikath, his damage output comes close. Why? He has lots of things going for him. First off, he puts up his block damage, which is freaking awesome. 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown, you're set, right? You do one turn with him, and then the next turn Warcaster goes. But his passive increases this champion's defense by 5% for each ally under block damage debuff. Well, guess what? His defense is going up by 5% continuously because we constantly have block damage out. Whenever block damage buff is placed on an ally by this champion, removes so it expires, it increases defense? Absolutely. He counterattacks whenever an ally under a block debuff, not his block debuff, a block debuff. He's counterattacking all the time. Guess what? You set it up. You put out his A1. His A1 is constantly hitting the guy or the clan boss on top of his normal moves, where he's putting out shields and protecting your team. You're in a good place. And then come turn 50, when everything is removed, he has the shields. You're still protecting your team. And many, many, many times I'm going to turn 52 and not just turn 50 when I'm doing the 2-1. So Emic, freaking amazing in a 2-1 team. But that brings us to our number one. Our number one does next to 0 damage. And yet she's personally responsible on my team for at least 14 million. And who am I talking about? Of course, it's Demitha. Demitha, she puts out block damage plus continuous heal. Remember we were talking on the masteries? Increase your damage inflicted by 5%. Right? And so all 5% of what goes on my team is because of Demitha, because of her skills, where she's putting out block damage and keeping us at full health. Her A2 is also super important. Why? It increases the duration of all buffs on your team. On your 3-1 team, you need to have that speed extended. Guess what? You get the speed extension. Her A1 is the only thing that does any damage. Guess what? If I could get rid of this move, I would. I don't need any damage coming from her because she does damage just based on what she's doing for my team. At running 3-1 and increasing, so that's an extra turn every round compared to 2-1, obviously. And she puts out a continuous heal. I'm always at full health. So Demitha, you're number one right now. I don't see you being replaced anytime soon, but you never know. So this year, as I said, it's going to be a short one. This is Leon from Setters saying, have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. And I'll see you tomorrow.